Welcome to Iraqi Dinar Update, say your go-to source for daily news, market trends, and insights on the Iraqi dinar and global currencies. Stay informed, stay ahead. The market today is showing some very interesting patterns, and whether you're a beginner or an experienced trader, understanding support and resistance levels is absolutely crucial to making smart decisions. These levels are not just lines on a chart. They represent key psychological points where traders, investors, and institutions react. Now, before we get into today's market specifics, let's quickly refresh on what support and resistance actually mean. Support is the level where a price tends to stop falling and may even bounce back up. It's where buyers usually come in because they see value at that level. Resistance, on the other hand, is the level where price tends to stop rising. Sellers step in, and many traders choose to take profit or short the market. Today, we're seeing quite a bit of reaction around these zones in multiple markets. Let's start with the US dollar index, which influences a lot of global currency movements, including the Iraqi dinar. The dollar index has been hovering near a short-term resistance level at around 106.50. It's been tested a few times in the past few sessions, and while the bulls are trying to push higher, sellers are clearly defending that area. If it breaks above and holds, we might see momentum build toward 107.20 or even 108. But if it gets rejected again, it could retest support levels around 105.70 or even 105 flat. Now, how does this affect regional currencies like the Iraqi dinar? While the dinar itself is not a free-floating currency, market sentiment around the dollar can still influence policy shifts, trade decisions, and investor outlooks. A stronger dollar usually pressures emerging market currencies, but with the dinar's semi-fixed nature, the more subtle effect is on confidence and demand for exchange or investment. If we zoom into crude oil, which plays a major role in Iraq's economy, we're seeing WTI crude hovering around a support level near $81.20. This level has acted as a base multiple times recently. Buyers have stepped in every time the price dipped close to that zone. Resistance is forming near $84.30, where sellers have consistently capped the upside over the past 2 weeks. If oil breaks above $84.30, we could see a push toward $86.50, which would be bullish not only for oil traders but also for the revenue outlook of oil-dependent economies like Iraq. Gold today is also showing a bit of back and forth. It's currently ranging between $2,310 and $2,350. That lower level is acting as a clear support, especially in times of uncertainty and inflation hedging. On the flip side, $2,350 to $2,360 is offering stiff resistance. If we break above that, gold could quickly accelerate toward $2,400. Traders are watching closely, especially with global inflation data coming out soon, which could add fuel to gold's price movement. Let's not forget about Bitcoin, now a growing part of macro discussions. Bitcoin is holding near $60,000, which has been both support and resistance in different time frames. It's bouncing between $58,000 and $63,000. A clean breakout above $63,000 could trigger a rally back to the highs of $67K+, while a break below $58,000 might drag it down toward $54,000. For those interested in alternative investments or crypto exposure alongside traditional currencies, these levels matter. Now, bringing it back to regional and Iraqi markets, the Central Bank of Iraq's approach is still very conservative. The official exchange rate is stable, but the parallel market, a black market, if you will, often fluctuates. Support for the dinar in the unofficial market usually comes around points where the government injects US dollars or tightens enforcement on unauthorized exchange. Resistance builds up when there are delays in dollar supply, increasing local demand and creating speculative buying. Today, for example, Unofficial exchange rates are slightly up in some provinces. That's largely due to demand pressures heading into the weekend and rumors around possible new import restrictions. Support levels for the dinar on the street are typically around 1,480 to 1,490, while resistance in the unofficial market builds near the 1520 1,530 range. If we see sustained news around tight dollar flows, that resistance level could be tested. When you're analyzing support and resistance, always remember these aren't fixed numbers, they're zones. Markets often wick above or below them before deciding on direction. And no single level is guaranteed to hold. What gives these zones power is volume, how many people are trading at these points, and sentiment, what people believe the price should do. Let me give you a quick tip. When you see price approach a support level with low volume, it often means that level might not hold because there isn't strong buyer interest. But if volume picks up and the price bounces, that's a good sign that the support is real. Same goes for resistance. Also, pay attention to the news. Today's data on U.S. jobless claims and European inflation numbers had immediate effects on the Forex market. These reports often act as catalysts that push price through support or resistance. For example, if inflation in the U.S. comes in higher than expected, it could lead to expectations of more rate hikes, which would strengthen the dollar and weaken other currencies. That's how these macro events influence technical zones. What does all this mean for you as a trader or someone following the dinar closely? It means that by understanding where support and resistance lie, you can make more informed decisions. Whether you're exchanging, investing, or just staying informed, watching these levels gives you a window into the market's psychology. And remember, charts don't predict the future, they show us the battle between buyers and sellers. Support and resistance are where those battles are fought, and whoever wins decides the next move. That's why we watch them so closely. If you're watching the dinar specifically, keep an eye on both official central bank announcements and movements in regional currency markets, like the Turkish lira, Jordanian dinar, and even the Iranian rial. These currencies often move in sympathy or in response to similar pressures. That gives us hints at potential support or resistance in the dinar itself, especially in informal exchange settings. To wrap it all up, today's markets are sending mixed but insightful signals. The US dollar is testing resistance. Oil is sitting at a key support. Gold is waiting for a breakout. Bitcoin is consolidating. And the Iraqi Dinar is holding steady with slight upward pressure in the parallel market. In all of these cases, support and resistance levels are the zones we're watching for breakouts or reversals. Stay tuned, keep your charts open, and don't forget, knowledge is the real currency in the financial world. If you want more updates like this, make sure to subscribe to Iraqi Dinar updates, drop a like, and leave a comment on what markets you're watching today.